Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. News and views on the news. And here to talk to you about this Zion Williams thing and presenting a discussion between Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman on First Take. All right. And basically, the crux of this is loyalty. Loyalty to everything. Loyalty to a contract. All right, where the contract is one-sided. All right, just blind loyalty. Loyalty to small print. Loyalty to people that, loyalty to slavery. Loyalty to having the so-called black man on TV wanting to keep you in the slave plantation system of college basketball, while the Caucasian man is making more sense, telling you that you should look out for your own health and your family future. Wow. So different types of loyalty. And all this loyalty is on the backs of the Afro man that is treated more like a slave than anything in the college athletic system. Oh, why? Oh, because by definition, that's what you are signed up to be. By definition. And we're going to have Max Kellerman break down this definition in a minute, right? But y'all got to understand, by definition, when these guys are signing up, they're slaves. Let's get into that in a minute. But first, let me greet everybody. Favorten hardu gudag ola oi to the bang vasis los bonjour mes amis kedu bawani konnichiwa ni hao ni ama sani bonani jumbo habagani assalamu alaikum and shalom. And let's get them thumbs up. Let me pause while you get those thumbs up. All right. Another thing I need to remind you. Okay, like, share, subscribe, and when you subscribe, click the notification bell. If you like to support what the community, what this channel does in the community, if you want to know what this channel is all about, then all you got to do is type in Reluctant Nabi and type in favela. Okay? Reluctant Nabi, favela. And you'll kind of get a gander as to what this channel has been constructed to do, what we do, and what it's all about. All right? But if you care to donate, remember, make sure your finances are straight. Make sure you take care of yourself and home first. All right? So let's get into this. Let's break into what's really going on. Okay. So I was watching the First Take episode when I'm talking about what should Zion Williams do from here. Max Kellerman pretty much said, go take the money and run. Get that money. Right? Stephen A. Smith was not too enamored with that. And I'm going to just point out some things. And keep this in mind. By definition, college athletes are slaves. By definition. I'm going to let you know something else too. But first, let's clear the road real quick. And let's allow Max Kellerman to define what's going on in college athleticism. Who's making the money and who's not. All right. And then I'm going to break something else down to you. All right. Again, for those that forgot, let's get them thumbs up real quick. Pause. Down there to your right. Go ahead, reach down there and click that thumbs up button. Okay, here we go.
Check this out. You want to talk about ethics? I'm going to respond to what Boogie Cousins said and then what Charles Barkley said. Let's start with Boogie Cousins. He says it's BS, the college system. He's right. He's right. There's no amateurism. They're selling amateurism back to the consumer, but it's just the veneer of amateurism. That's why they have to be so careful about the students not profiting. The only amateurs are the players.
The only amateurs are the players. So let's look at the word amateur. Amateur usually means you do something without getting paid. All right, here's something about a true, or you're doing something without getting paid a lot. See, you get paid something, but not a lot. All right, if you're an amateur at something, all right, you pretty much get to go do what you do and quit. If something becomes too dangerous, you just walk away. You're an amateur, you're not the professional. When you are an amateur, people don't expect as much out of you than they do out of professionals. All right? When you are an amateur, right? People understand that you're not going to bring them as much money because you're an amateur. Usually amateurs are people that people hire, one, because they're cheaper, all right, and they want a service to get done. And because they're an amateur, they still pay them, but not as much as they would have to pay a professional. An amateur usually does not have any paper tied behind their name, but they do get paid for the service that they render. College athletic sports are different, especially since college have found out a way to make money off the backs of Afro men primarily.
Is the college engaged in amateurism? Really? They're not making a profit? Are the broadcast networks engaged in amateurism? Are you or I engaged in it? Is the consumer even? They're paying money. Tons, millions and millions and millions of dollars are exchanging hands, and the only people who are not really participating in that are the people providing the product itself. It's nonsense. That's what. So talk about in terms of that ethical framework. Do I then feel, strictly ethically speaking, you're right. Once you enter into an agreement, then strictly ethically speaking, you're right. What I'm
unless the agreement itself is unethical. See, one of the things that everybody's trying to point out here is that you have an ethical Caucasian system that has you have an unethical Caucasian system that has unethical laws that are written down on paper, and anything you got to write down on paper, hence make that thing unethical. One of the things that I used to watch on Pawn Stars is the handshake sealed the deal. They would put their hand out there. The guy was like, "Oh, I ain't shaking his hand." Because for some reason, between Caucasians, they understand that a simple handshake seals the deal. And every so often, you will have somebody renege on the deal, but when you look at who reneges on the deal, it's usually a younger person. But in general, the handshake seals the deal. Rick could put his hand out, people like, "Ooh, let me make sure." He don't pull out a contract. They negotiate in almost good faith. All right. And then Rick puts his hand out. All right. And then people pull their hand back. No. Okay. That used to be the deal. Your word used to be your bond. All right. In college sports, because it is unethical. The whole system is unethical. What they ask the players to do is unethical. That anything that anyone signs with a college thing, once something happens to them where it causes them injury, then that breaks whatever deal they had with the organization. Period. Your health is your health, and your future ability to make anything is way more important than any piece of paper you signed in college. All right. And when you look at it, they ain't paying you because you're an amateur. No, they're not paying you because you're a slave, because amateurs get paid.
Suggesting is unethical.
So he makes my point. The whole thing, the whole system is unethical. So how do they expect people to hold up ethics when they're being injured in a system that by design is unethical, and the agreement that they're getting you to sign is that you're a slave, right? And because it's a piece of paper, they'll probably take it to court, or they could, or can they even take you to court? They can kick you out of the school, and that solves your problem. That solves Zion Williams' problem. That solves his problem. If they kick him out, he just goes straight to the NBA. Period. All right. But no. He don't need to be risking his body for people that's making all these millions and billions off of the backs of people that look like him. Because remember, the people that's bringing in most of the money, we're going to go up into the high 80s, and 90% are going to be Afro, descendant of slave athletes.
Check this out. You want to talk about ethics? I'm going to respond to what Boogie Cousins said and then what Charles Barkley said.
All right, so let's take a look at how much more unethical this is. The shoe that fell apart is a Nike shoe. All right, this man cannot sue Nike. It's because wait a minute, more unethical treatment here. He cannot sue Nike, right? And the reason why he can't sue Nike is because Nike has a contract with the shoes. Guess what? As Duke's slaves, like, and the Caucasian guy, he's a North Carolina slave, right? They will tell you what colors you wear, what type of shoes you wear, and everything. What makes them slaves again? They're not getting paid to be told what to wear, what shoes they will wear, and oh yeah, they do not get compensated. All right. Let me break something down to you. You know that person working at the bookstore, right? Say they have on a pair of Nike shoes, and their shoes give out why they make a cut around the corner with the box in their hand, all right, and their shoe blow out like this. What happens to this person that harms their knee? Oh, well, first off the top, they're getting minimum wage, so they're being paid something, right? The next thing that happens is they'll get workman comp. All right. The next thing after that is they'll get to sue Nike, because as an employee of the school, they represent themselves. The guys playing basketball should be an employee of the school. Why? Because they're making money for the school. They're helping the school facilitate, bring in money for the school. But the school says, no, you cannot get paid. Why? Because we owe you big time, but we want to make money off of your backs. And then the schools, the NCAA went out and made sure that no Afro player can leave the hood, leave his neighborhood as a good basketball player and go straight into the NBA. You have to do 1 year in college. Period. That is very unethical. They're saying you have to be a slave for some university for 1 year before you can go and be paid in the NBA. Why? Because the college and universities want to make money off of your back and give you none of it. That bum jacked up education don't mean a hill of beans. That's an argument nobody should be having. Well, they're getting an education. Bull. What's the purpose of getting an education? The purpose of getting an education is to hope so that you can make money. Well, if you're making $1 billion or $1 million or $100 million or a couple $100,000 a year, you're making, and you didn't need to get to college education to do it. Just go into the NBA, you need to learn how to manage your money. And if you had a daddy in the house, he would teach you how to do that. A daddy like a LeVar Ball type. Oh yeah, that daddy started a business in the face of Nike and everything else. All right, think about this. All right, now let's get back into more of the argument.
Max Kellerman, when you sat up there on national television yesterday and spelled out the word peace, P-E-A-C-E. In other words, you were saying R.J. Barrett, kick rocks, Cam Reddish, kick rocks, Trey Jones, kick rocks, Coach Mike Krzyzewski, kick rocks.
And he said all of them should kick rocks because none of them care about the player. They care about having a winning team. Why? Because winning teams bring in revenue to do. They get the teams that consistently make the tournament get so much. Those college and universities get so much revenue off of sports. Even if they don't make it, they get so much revenue off of sports, and they're making it off of the backs of, as they say, these kids. But let's just say these men, because they are men. They're 17, 18, 19, 20. They're men. They're not kids. All right, you would refer to them as children, but you don't want to say children because children would equate that they're young and they're human. Kids, baby goats, okay. So you dehumanize them with the word kid. All right, you keep calling them kids even though they're old enough to drink, vote, and join the military and be shot with bullets by an enemy somewhere. So think about this, right? And so the Caucasian guy is actually looking out for the black athlete, while the black guy is telling him that he needs to stay on the plantation.
No, I agreed to be with you and go for this national championship, but y'all can go someplace because guess what? I'm going to save myself for the NBA draft.
Which is exactly what he should do.
In the middle of the season?
Yeah, sure.
You said that was okay.
Because it's a business. Just because they're putatively amateurs, it's nonsense. It's a business. You know, it's funny. I was on a show, Sports Nation. I was doing a very successful afternoon drive show with my brother, Marcellus Wiley.
He understand this with his brother, Stephen A.
And we had aspirations to do a national show and everything. And then First Take came knocking and made me a really good offer. And you know what I told Marcellus? I'm out. And you know what Marcellus told me? You better go get that. I mean, what do you think he did? What do you think R.J. Barrett's going to tell Zion Williamson? Don't go get your money.
Let me answer that. So, Max Kellerman, did you walk out in the middle of the damn show?
I would have if that would have.
All right, did you hear what Max Kellerman said? Stephen A. asked Max Kellerman a question about what he would do, or his opinion on something and what he would do. Why he said peace. And Max Kellerman said because he's been in the situation where he got a better deal with Sports Nation. I mean, with ESPN First Take. And Max Kellerman just told Stephen A. while he's running his mouth, he would have walked out in the middle of the show. Stephen A. Smith, like a black woman, keep running his mouth and talking over the point that Max Kellerman just told him the answer to this question. But he don't want to hear that answer because he's trying to make an overall arching point that black athletes should stay on a plantation.
That's what I had to do. That's what I would have done. And you know what Marcellus would have done? He'd have held it down and been happy for me.
Marcellus might be your brother, but that's my boy. I love Marcellus. That's my man. Miss him, proud of what he's doing. Let's be clear. You understand what I'm saying? He ain't got nothing but love for Marcellus here. What I said to you was this. You ain't quit in the middle of the damn show. You
I would have if that's what I had to do.
Excuse me. You had to...
Again, Stephen A. is talking to the actual guy that was in the situation, and he's going to overshout him in order to make a point that black athletes in college sports should stay on the plantation. And this doesn't just go for them, but we're talking basically about them 80-90%. All right, and this is the poor Caucasian athletes too. You got white families that will not allow their children to play football anymore because it's a gladiator sport that'll get them hurt. Baseball or basketball. All right? And this dude is shouting on this dude because he made the point. He would have quit in the middle of the show because a better deal came along, and his brother would have understood, because his brother is in on it too. His brother wants his brother to do well. Understood that he needed to go get that money. But you know where you don't have that? I'll tell you.
Wait, and there was a transition. You wasn't here the next day.
You're not listening. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying I would have. And by the way, if the shoe were on the other foot, he would have, and I would have told him, go get what you got to get, brother. Look, I want to respond to Charles Barkley, too. Charles Barkley, I think, made a very, sometimes the unethical thing to do is nevertheless the smart thing or even the right thing to do. Morals and ethics, there's an overlap, but they're not exactly the same thing.
Not in this case.
I want to talk about what Charles Barkley said. I think he said a valuable thing, because in this case, he may be responding to me.
And there it is. So he's taking it on the chin. He's taking all the hits you got to give. Understand this. Keep this in mind. This is not the first time Nike shoes have exploded while people were playing. All right? But the difference is in the NBA, these guys can sue Nike. Nike will take care of their health. Nike will take care of their money. All right? Basically, all they got to do is keep wearing the shoe. In college, they don't even get a decision of what kind of shoes they're going to wear. They're told what to wear by the university. Why? Because the university isn't the one that's in contract with Nike. So these dudes that's playing in college, they don't even get to decide whether or not they want to wear Nike shoes or not. Think about it. That's called slavery. And to point out the plantation, this would be Massa Boy.
I'm not walking out on my teammates like that. I signed up, and the bottom line is to finish the deal.
He signed up. The bottom line is to finish the deal. No, this is not the military. It's not like he's walking out on a unit that's in a firefight. Period. All right. As mad as I was at things in the military, somebody attacks us, yeah, we band together and we stick by each other. But this is basketball. This is a sport where everybody is making money off of your individual talent. And none of the rest of the guys care about you or your life like that. Your team, they're asking you to be loyal to something that is not loyal to you. The university is not loyal to any of their players. So one-sided loyalty says slavery. Stephen A. don't get that, though. No one needs to give their loyalty to anyone that just wants to put them at risk. Period. Things fail. These shoes fail. But period. Nobody should be loyal to somebody that's not going to be loyal to them. You know, this is my problem with black women. It's the same problem I have with these universities. They're not loyal to the players, but they want the players to be loyal to them, their team, their colors, and all the rest of that stuff. Whereas their colors don't represent their community or anything else. Period. You talking about something representing Caucasians only? Duke represent Caucasians only, rich ones. Same way with all the rest of them. HBCUs, well, they're supposed to represent the Afro people. Why these people keep going to these teams to be slaves? Oh, a trip into the NBA. But the NBA would look into HBCUs if all the black people would go to HBCUs that play basketball. But you know who's in charge of that? Oh, their mama's black, who's not loyal to them either. She's loyal to what she's getting out of the school. Think about that. We need to wake up and start falling to the crack of food, as my brother Scribe used to say. All right, that's my final thoughts. With that said, I'm out.